Right, you lot, and welcome back to the Premier League roundup. My bloody god, what a mad week in the Premier League once again. I mean, there was only really one big game. Let's get into it. Liverpool won. Man City 0. Now, how did that happen?
What the fuck?
Where did that performance come from? I mean, for most of this season, Liverpool have looked like just football's answer to The Simpsons, past their prime. I mean, players like Virgil van Dijk, Fabinho and Mo Salah have looked absolute shadows of the players that they once were. Went from a team that were competing for the quadruple to a team that would be lucky to qualify for the Conference League. But out of nowhere, they just look like prime Liverpool. I mean, there's so much to discuss. I'm going to be honest, right? When I first saw that starting 11, I was terrified. I was shaking. I was about as scared as that piglet of Winnie the Pooh. You know, the tiny ones got extreme anxiety. The idea is James Milner at right back, a guy who most oppositions will celebrate when they see he's on the starting 11. That guy absolutely put in a defensive masterclass. Joe Gomez, a guy who's probably lower in the England centre-back pecking order than Tyrone Mings. And, I mean, did you see what Tyrone Mings did this weekend? Absolutely pocketed Erling Haaland, probably the most in-form striker in the bloody world. I mean, everyone just turned up in this game. There wasn't a bad performance from any of the Liverpool players. See, the defence was world class in that performance, but I've got to talk about one man, Mohamed Salah, a guy who most people have written off as being finished, just a shard of the past. But honestly, like Ronaldo and Messi before him, they've moved him from a winger position. Now in his 30s, he's more centrally as a striker. And this in return, incredible. He was so explosive. He made an absolute nightmare for the Manchester City defence. I mean, did you see how he absolutely knocked Cancelo down like he was a sack of potatoes? You know, João Cancelo, like the number one fullback in the world. I mean, if that was Trent Alexander, it'd be the biggest meme since that Loris Karius mistake. Honestly, I tell you, absolute nightmare. So much to really discuss in this game. I've got to talk about Manchester City, because one thing that really baffled me about this match from Pep Guardiola's perspective is why didn't he change the tactics at all? He only made one sub in the entire match, which was bringing on young, talented Julian Alvarez. But Riyad Mahrez and Jack Grealish were both on the bench. I mean, Jack Grealish is someone who I could imagine would have given James Milner quite a few problems and could have ran circles around the near retirement guy. How did James Milner put in a world-class performance? This is a guy who was thrown out of Man City for not being good enough the same time that Jurassic World was in the cinemas. I don't get. And to touch on the famous Klopp red card, I mean, it was a joke that a free kick wasn't given, firstly, because, I mean, he was literally pulling him down. I tell you, the standard of refereeing in this country is a scandal. I tell you. And for the Man City disallowed goal, I mean, we should have had a corner at the other end. So it should have been ruled out from that point. But yes, it was a foul on Fabinho. I think the Alisson bit is okay, but he fouled Fabinho. They shouldn't have even been allowed to play on because it wasn't a goal kick. So I don't know how you can argue that goal should have stood, but honestly, incredible. They need to build on from this now, because it's all good beating Manchester City, but if we lose to West Ham on Wednesday, we're just back to square one. I mean, we need to kick on now. This needs to be the momentum that will hopefully get us. I mean, the title's done. I mean, it's not technically done. We pulled back a big point lead before, but I mean, that kind of 14-point magic from last season is a one-time thing. Fans, they must be loving it. And talking of Arsenal 1, Leeds 0. As Arsenal, the lottery numbers, I genuinely know, I've never seen a more lucky performance from a football team. I mean, Leeds were the better team on that pitch, and if it wasn't Patrick Bamford having the goal scoring ability of a llama, they could have probably won the match. But that's the kind of performances that a champion will put in. Not every game needs to be a 4-0 battering. There are going to be these 1-0, these 2-1 squeaky wins. Maybe these wins that you probably didn't deserve it, but you take it and you move on to the next game. And I think Arsenal are playing incredible right now, and I still believe they're going to collapse They might not even make the top 4. That would be funny, wouldn't it? If Arsenal don't win the top 4. In January, I'll be doing pretty much a halfway through the season prediction, an updated prediction sort of thing, and we'll see where I put Arsenal in there. Fulham 2, Bournemouth 2. How are Bournemouth good all of a sudden? I mean, this is a team that is managed currently by an interim coach, Gary O'Neill. He's not even a proper manager, and somehow he's got this courage. And you know what? I would love to see Bournemouth stay up. When Bournemouth first came to the Premier League, everyone writ them off as this disgrace of a team, that this year's answer to Derby County, that they would absolutely stink up the gaff in this league. But look at them. They've been unbeaten since that 9-0 thrashing. And, I mean, they probably should have won this game. It was unfortunate that Mitrovic got... But I've got to talk about Dominic Solanke, because everyone's been going on about the likes of Mitrovic and Jesus and Kane and how well they're doing. But Solanke is doing incredible as a Bournemouth striker. It's quite sad to think that Liverpool let go of Solanke, because he would have been a great... We could have definitely used a guy like him right now. Southampton 1, West Ham 1. The refereeing is a disgrace. That Southampton goal should not have stood, and David Moyes definitely was right in what he said. And I mean, this could have been a great win for West Ham. It was a deserved. I don't get the refereeing in this country. Chelsea 2, Aston Villa 0. Oh, Stevie G, you're literally hanging onto the limb. You're just like Mufasa. You're about to be thrown off, I tell you. I mean, Aston Villa weren't terrible in the game. I watched the game, actually, and they just weren't clinical enough. I mean, something's not gelling with the option of attackers Aston Villa have. You know, Philip Coutinho, Danny Ings, Ollie Watkins, Ben Dia, Leon Bailey. That's one of the best attacking lineups in the entire league. Definitely, probably top 10. One of the best outside the top 6. But for some reason, it's just not working for them. Tottenham 2, Everton 0. Oh, Tottenham. Tottenham under Conte are so dull to watch, aren't they? I mean, they get wins, and they're currently tied on points in Man City somehow, but Everton were the better team. I mean, if they had anyone more clinical than Damari Gray, they could have scored a couple here. But I do want to talk about Harry Kane, because if it wasn't for Erling Haaland's absolute robotic, unreal performances, this guy has only blanked once in 11 games. He's got, I believe, 9 goals in 10 games or something ridiculous. And before you say, oh, he's a penalty merchant, only 2 of them were penalties. 7 of them were in open play. I mean, if it wasn't for Erling Haaland, this guy would probably have the Golden Boot wrapped up by December. And based off most people saying he was finished at the start of last season, the trajectory and change of Kane's career has been incredible. Man United 0, Newcastle 0. Oh, what a weird performance from Man United. Fred was atrocious. I mean, how is Fred still getting a game at Man United? I mean, I think we've established that the duo of McFred have never been good. I mean, I don't know why every manager likes to play them. I don't know what Donny van der Beek has to bloody do to get a chance on this pitch, because Christian Eriksen, he's like Thiago for us. If they don't have Eriksen, they're useless in midfield. I mean, the drop off from Eriksen to a McTominay or a Fred is just ungodly, I tell you. Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Do I even need to talk about this game? Bloody boring. Brentford 2, Brighton 0. What the hell happened to Brighton? I swear Brighton have these dips sometimes where they'll go on a great run. It happened at the start of last season. They were incredible. They got into the top 4 and then they fell down a bit. And I mean, I slagged off Brentford the other week and I said that they could be in relegation scrap, and now look what they're doing. It's like, just don't ask me to give an opinion on your fit team. Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 0. Did either of these teams want to score? I predicted a 3-0 win for Crystal Palace in this, and and it just flopped. But anyway, I'm gonna be scrapping the kind of reacting to my predictions, because you can go back and watch them. I think it's better for me to just focus on the game instead of getting all hyped about me getting a prediction right. So yeah, now that was the Prem roundup, and I mean, who knows? I'm probably going to clickbait Liverpool winning the league and the title. So yeah, goodbye you lot.